And thanks for staying with us on Standpoint. Once again, there is an impeachment saga in Ondo State. And once again, it is on the deputy governor. And we've been speaking with the senior special assistant to the governor on special duties, Dr. Deborah Wale. We've also been speaking to a youth advocate and social commentator. He's from Ondo State as well, Taiwo. We're also joined by a lawyer, Evans Ufeli. And we'll stay with Evans Ufeli now because he was speaking before we went to break. I'll just let you wrap up your thoughts.
Yes, I was saying that it is the investigation of the panel that will actually unravel this thing. And the panel is expected to be independent, not people that are subservient to either part in the case under reference. They must be people of unquestionable integrity. That's what the Constitution says. So even the process of getting that panel in place must also be watched after by the citizens of that state, so that they don't get cross of people who will compromise the process. Because any mistake made in any of the processes, we turn that exercise to a nullity. And that is why the citizens must be involved. Remember, it is a mandate of the citizens that the National Assembly now is questioning right now. So why that is the case, the citizens who donated their mandate and allegiance, because a joint ticket, okay, must also be involved, watch out and see through to the process that they have the right kind of persons in that panel who will do justice, who will look at the issue dispassionately and come up with a report. And when this report is being reconsidered by the House, it must be one that is also dispassionate. And they must get the required number to third majority. You know, to start the process is a 1/3 majority. To start the process is 1/3 of the members. And then to have the process grounded on impeachment is 2/3 of the numbers of persons in the House.
All right, let me bring in Taiwo into the conversation because of the issues you just raised. Taiwo, how you understand the politics in Ondo, and from what you know about the politics in Ondo, how confident are you that this process of impeachment will be fair, rather, to the deputy governor?
Thank you very much, moderator. I quickly want to respond to what Dr. Deborah Wale said while you were, talking there after me. He said, who are the citizens? This begs. I am a citizen of Ondo State. I am an indigene, not just. I am an indigene of Ondo State, and I think by such, I have the right and right requisite to speak as far as this matter is concerned. Because what is ongoing in Ondo State now, because governors, to an extent, within that the impeachment process has commenced, has been reduced to nothing in Ondo State, and again. You would agree with me that Dr. Deborah did partially that what they are doing currently is act of politics. And we believe that instead of going the route of politics, they should face governors as far as Ondo State is concerned. People are lamenting for the adverse effect of fuel subsidy. These things should be faced squarely, not these shenanigans of who becomes who, probably, These are things that we expect them to face. And you also agree with me that the barrister has said that he also agreed that this is politics because the one thing has led to another thing. So Deborah Wale has said, he said politics, how? So it's obvious that what we are currently on is an act of their intra-party politics. But we are appealing to them and we are telling them as citizens that we are not appreciative of this current situation. We want governors in Ondo and nothing but more.
And I asked you about how fair you think that the process will be in terms of the investigation, the probe, and the results of that probe.
Well, to me, I wouldn't see the process to being fair. I have nothing to hide and to lie about because it is so obvious, judging by the way Dr. Deborah actually spoke. He is so confident that the process to an extent has been started and concluded. You will recall that he objected to what his learned colleague actually said, the barrister that you also called on to join us, when he said that the process is to go for 3 months, he said when the deputy governor is being served, he has a 14-day ultimatum to respond. And thereafter, a panel will be set up. And you cannot tell me that the panel would naturally go on the 7 days thing to conclude such an huge allegation, because you said
Section 188 of the Constitution.
These are things that are embedded in our Constitution. Now, but when Dr. Deborah Wale will respond, he said he referred to a candidate type of impeachment that happened then in Oyo State, and he said even in this 21st century that we are in, that we are in the renewed hope era, he said we should go back to that kind of era where the deputy governor, probably after being served in 3 days, they just say, I have it times, and he ceased to exist as a deputy governor. So this is why the citizens are also calling. If the process will be transparent and clear enough, ordinarily, if the deputy governor is culpable, I am not his person. I'm not holding brief for him. Yes, if he's culpable, he should face it. But they should allow the process to be, strictly adhered to according to the Constitution, Section 188 as amended in Section 188, 1999 Constitution as amended. It should be followed through. The 14 days to respond should be adhered to. They should allow him to, and he is also saying openly on air, national TV now, that there are evidences. Ordinarily, these evidences should have been flying. They should have availed the citizens. We should not be kept in dark. If you have alleged, then it should be proven. So these are things that we have not seen that is making us feel that this kind of process, a shenanigan, might just be a shady thing that we just do, like the ritual with in the political space.
And from the way you sound, Taiwo, it almost sounds as though either ways, you don't think that there's a way out for the deputy governor. You don't think that he's going to make it through this process?
To me, I believe you should make it throughout the process, because Nigeria is still a sane society where you should approach the matter with rules that guides the process too. We recollect that the same thing that is happening in Ondo State is also happening in Edo State. And even before the commencement of the process, the deputy governor in Edo State went to court and get an injunction. So I'm not to speak for the deputy governor. I believe he himself is also a man that knows his right from his left. So naturally, but as citizens, we can only appeal that the House of Assembly members that I have known that even since the situation has commenced, members of the Ondo State House of Assembly in their respective constituency has been getting their citizens to tell them, we are not interested in this. As I speak to you, there is a protest that I'm not from Igbokoda, I'm from Akure. There's a protest that broke in the southern senatorial district, Igbokoda to be precise, the riverine area, telling their lawmakers that they are not interested in this, that they want governance. So naturally, I believe the citizens will cry out, like the lawyer said. He said the citizens too should be allowed to hear their voice, and their voices must also count.
Taiwo, I want to clearly ask you this, because I want Dr. Deborah Wale to respond to you. But you made a statement earlier about how governance in Ondo has been grounded for a while. I want to ask you about that. What areas are lacking, and what things that our citizens or residents in Ondo looking to address that has not been addressed?
He only faulted the area of salary. I'm not the Accountant General to prove it, but I know the civil servants will always cry out. At the time, there was a protest in our Poli was on strike. They resumed not even up to a month. So these are citizens, these are civil servants in Ondo State. But he agreed that other governance areas were technically down, but that they were paying. As at when the governor was not in town, probably if he says they were paying salary, fine. But this was the exact time that the advent of fuel subsidy came on board. You knew what happened in Ogun State, Osun State, in Oyo State, in Edo State, and several other states where the government, came out. Some were sharing palliative in terms of, some were already bringing out buses for their civil servants and for students, and not until when not when governor came on board. All of these things in Ondo State, you recall with me that you heard when the government official, one of the Commissioner for Women Affairs, and one of their party leaders in one of our local governments in Akoko had issues. And this came just last week. That was when the governor was already in Ondo State. And he equally made mention of something again while he was talking. He spoke about when the governor came around, and he's a lawyer, and I know he's a learned person who is cleared enough to understand that Ondo State people are not getting what they deserve. As we speak, the governor of Ondo State came back in the first week of September, and as we speak, he has not yet stepped his foot in Ondo State. The governor of Ondo State came to Ondo State, and he has signed several things, and he signed it in Ibadan. This process that has commenced, to ordinarily the governor in town, these are things that are begging. The governor is not in town, and yet the deputy governor is a lot.
All right, so Dr. Deborah Wale, let me give you some minutes to respond to Taiwo.
You are not giving me, please. You see, you want me to
I'm asking you to respond to Taiwo. Please go ahead.
Yeah, please. I mean, because you have said so many things that I think you should also, moderate. Now, the very first thing he said, I don't want to forget. You see, there's always this misapprehension of the workings of government. And you find these among those who think they know everything when they are indeed, exhibiting abysmal ignorance. Abysmal ignorance in the sense that when you talk about governance, you talk about parliamentary proceedings, what has the governor got to do with it? The governor has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution has amended the offices of the governor is deputy. That section of the Constitution is about the orders of these two offices, because only they enjoy immunity under the law. And if the House decides to ask a question, write to the deputy governor to respond, and the House proceed without the response of the deputy governor, the law says yes, whether he likes to respond or not. That is the law. What is the next stage? The chief judge will be invited to set up a panel of people who are non-partisan and so on and so forth. I mean, the requirement is there. And the panel does not have 3 months. Check your law again. The panel does not have 3 months. You are taking law. If you want to talk law, go and read law. Study law, please. I'm telling you that I participated in the Inokoju and Adeleke, which is the locus classicus in Nigeria today, on impeachment. I was privileged. 2006, I participated. In it. So this is not a matter of opinion. No opinion is sacrosanct. And when you have what has been reduced to rest, you cannot just be talking because you think you have an opinion. However persuasive the opinion may be, however inviting the opinion may be. And when people talk about being indigenous and being this, to start with, I'm not an indigene of Ondo State. My wife is. My children are. My wife is from Igobini. She's also a princess here. And above all, I pay tax in this state. I have an insurable interest in what happens in this state. More than even those who don't live here, who come from outside. I pay tax, I pay my tax here. It's from this place. I can do my tax clearance. So, I should clear that aspect. Then when you are settled with confidence, that civil servants are not paid their salaries.
All right.
I told you that, look, it is a lie that civil servants are not owed one cover. Now you quickly jump to polytechnic or what? No civil servants, is that the issue?
Right, so Dr. Deborah Wale, let me put you on hold because your network is bad. I know you're on the road. Maybe whilst I speak to the lawyer, you would have driven to a place where it has a better network. So let me bring in the lawyer. Mr. Evans Ofeli, while Taiwo was speaking, he also referenced Edo State, what's going on in Edo State right now. I want to ask you about, all of this, the office of the deputy governor. It seems to have some level of, there's a way it's been treated over the years by, governments across several states. And we've seen that even with the vice presidency, not just the deputy governor. Is there more that should be done constitutionally to ensure that, look, that office is respected and seen as, equal with that of the governor, as it were. What is missing exactly?
Well, you see, that's very important to the administration of a state. Okay, look at what happened in Ondo State. The governor was sick. If you do not have that office, who would the governor transmit powers to? Okay, so the office is very important. And the reason it's not respected is because we don't have independent legislature. We don't have legislature or parliament at the state level that have a mind of their own. Most of them cross close to the governor and they make a mess of themselves and they rubbish the constitution. The constitution defines an ideal situation. Okay, the constitution creates an ideal situation, and that situation is that where there is infraction, that is where you fix. So, in fact, the steps it takes to remove a deputy governor is the same steps it takes to remove a governor. And it's the same step it takes to remove even the president. Those are the steps. They are implicated in Section 447 and Section 188, 1999 Constitution as amended. Okay, so the office is respected, but because of politics, usually most governors feel that deputy governors have ambition. They have ambition to take over. They want to, and most governors also have this ambition to want to choose for the state a successor who will be able to close their tracks and all that. So these interests at the tail end of administration in most of the states, if you check the record, in most of the states, before they conclude their tenure, the governor falls out with a deputy governor and vice versa, even at the center. Sometimes you saw the case of Obasanjo and Atiku Abubakar. Now, these are issues that are political. They are political issues. Then what the governors or the deputy governors now do is to now, use mischief to engage the State House of Assembly into the wrong. And interests are divided. Even political party interest comes in. Party issues come in. And they start to talk at the party level, they start to talk about anti-party activities. Then at the legislature level, they start to talk about gross misconduct. And from gross misconduct, they begin, once they get the right number, the process is, they kickstart the process of impeachment. And most of the time, they don't get it right. They do it illegally. They throw, and before you know it, they do it illegally. But once attention is drawn to the issue that this is the way it should be done, if it's not done that way, it is illegal. And if you look at when Peter Obi was impeached in his states, then you look at the process, how it turned out, the errors and the rush and the infraction. You want to correct an infraction, constitutional infraction. And the parliament is supposed to be the custodian of law. They're also going to break and breach the constitution to implement constitutional provision. It is the oath that the deputy governor out of office has brought to defend the constitution. If he flouts any of those, it becomes gross misconduct. That gross misconduct becomes the ground for allegation. That is not enough until the process is pulled through. Okay? So,
but Mr. Ofeli, sorry to interrupt you, but because you're stating a very critical point, and I wanted to ask you also about the time frame. Sometimes, especially in the case of Zamfara State, where that tenure had expired before the deputy governor was reinstalled. I mean, if somebody else was already, in office. So what then happens in that situation, and what can we do to ensure, or what can be done to ensure that, all of this process is done within the time frame of the tenure of where that impeachment process was moved?
If you look at Section 188 of the Constitution, okay, if the tenure of the governor is such that cannot accommodate that process, the impeachment procedure will fail. It will fail because at each interval, the Constitution specifies the duration of time. Now, once this notice is served, the holder of that office has 14 days within which to respond. When they pass that stage, the chief judge of a state is forced to assemble a committee The 7-man committee have 3 months within which to do it. I want to employ all the citizens of Ondo State to go and get a copy of the Constitution and read section 188 down, all the subsections. And whatever they see there is the law. That is how to count this up so that we don't go back and forth. And these issues are very clear in the law. If there is a state in the past where they have done a kangaroo impeachment, for which you know it happened under Obasanjo, under Yaradua, under all that, it happened in across the state, even in some of the states in the Southwest. Those kind of impeachment, even the ones they do in the night, even the ones they organize in hotels, those are not the ones which were endorse in a program where we are speaking to the public and trying to educate the society. The citizens must be involved because it is their mandate that is going to be upturned. If you look at what happened in the Bayelsa State, when Diri had already, this particular man, I can't remember the name now, had already won election, but the advance party went to court because he's running.
David Lyon.
David Lyon. Now they had multiple names. It was because of those multiple names that stopped him from. He was already rehearsing a day today. Was in 24 hours. 24 hours to be sworn in when his mandate was withdrawn.
Okay? And that was because of his deputy.
Yes, because of his deputy, because it's the mandate. But when it comes to issues of infraction, because infraction can be inferred that it was not jointly committed and criminal liability is personal, then you now have to face the person in question. But I want to say that.
Evans, let me put you on hold. I have just about a minute or two left, and I want to give it to the Dr. Deborah Wale to wrap his thought. We put him on hold earlier. I'm hoping he's in a better part of the road of the expressway now. Dr. Deborah Wale, please, your final response.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you. Now, you see, I have so many things to respond to from what that other guy said. And it will appear as if I've been shut out. I'm sorry. But let me quickly say this. Whether it is politics or not, this idea of believing that the House should not work because of a particular office holder, either the governor or the deputy governor, should stop. And who is afraid of probe? If what is submitted before the House is not true, it will be thrown out. If the required number of signatures are not collected, proceed. They cannot put a gun to the head of the chief judge to submit a report that is false. It cannot happen. The idea of people about being a citizen and who is a citizen and who is not. I was talking about being a taxpayer. I was talking about I want to respond to Taiwo that look, my wife is an indigent, she's a princess. My children are tax. Not from an insurable interest. In what happens in this place? I totally told the lie openly. But since I'm not it's a lie. Even the acting governor signed. The acting governor signed for 2 months. He was signing and people were receiving their salaries. Will you act? Yes, will you act? They said the politics was not given. This is a lie.
All right, Dr. Deborah Wale, you did say that you were short out. You were not. And we gave you enough time to speak as well. And if you notice that the other people had more stable network because you are on the road, quite understandably. That's why we had to keep, asking you to put in your hold because of network. But thank you so much for your time and, your contribution to the conversation. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Special Duties, Dr. Deborah Wale. Also, very many thanks to Taiwo, who is a youth advocate and a social commentator. We also had a lawyer, Evans Ufeli. Thank you all for being part of this conversation. And that's a wrap on Standpoint. Thanks for watching. I am Precious Amayo.